Hi. It's been a minute since I've seen you guys, but I wanted to do a quick get ready with me video. It's my husband and I's anniversary. We've been married for 7 years, and so I just want to tell y'all the story that we've been through. It's been pretty fun. It's been a roller coaster for sure. Been married 7 years today. It's been pretty fun. Obviously it's had its ups and downs. So my husband and I met late, May of 2015. He was living out kind of close to me. We met on an app, like on a phone app, but it wasn't like a dating app. It was just an app, and it was he had posted something, and I was like, oh well, why can't you do whatever you're asking about? I think he said something about like how he can't drive. So then I'm like, I took the bait. So I said, well, why can't you drive? And he starts telling me that he's got medical reasons that he can't do it. And I said, hey, well, why can't you drive? And he told me he has medical reasons why he can't do it. He's got epilepsy, and he feels like he's never going to be fully independent because he's always relying on like public transportation or riding his bike. So he was telling me his whole life story to someone who he didn't know who he was talking to, because this app was kind of like an anonymous app. Like you can post something. It was like really weird ass people on there, but you gotta be careful because they're fucking crazy. And so I was like, okay. So he was just telling me his story, and I'm like, okay, cool. So this intrigued me, and whatever fucking reason, I said, let me talk to this dude. Actually, I do know the reason. I was solely looking for a hit it and quit it, a booty call, and that's it. So I said, okay, a booty call. He's an easy target. So he invited me over, and I was like, sure, girls, I don't recommend you guys doing this at all, because like it was a different time, like almost 10 years ago. Guys right now, like, they're fucking crazy. Don't go to dudes' houses. So he invites me to his house, and I'm like, sure. This is after like a week or two of talking and just being friends. We exchanged numbers, started talking from there. And so he invites me to his house, and I said, okay, cool. I've got like, I don't know, maybe an hour before my mom comes back home, because I don't want my mom knowing that I'm hoeing around already. So I go to his house, and that should have been like red flag number one for me. And it's like what you would picture a raw like bachelor pad, like what you would imagine a not so clean bachelor pad. I should have known. I should have known better at this point. So all he had to eat like there was like leftover pizza boxes, that Lord knows when he had taken them out. So I'm gonna say that my husband was not heavy set at all when we met. He was like this skinny little guy. I'll post a picture somewhere here, probably. So I was like, okay, cool. We talked for a little bit. We met face to face. Oh, I forgot to say, so before I went over to his house, he's all like, how do you know I'm not a serial killer? I said, well, serial killers don't say that. You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool. So I still went over there. And we talked for a few minutes. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of time before my mom got home. Is like, what are you doing? I don't want her to know all of my business. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we talked, we got to know each other face to face. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go home. Like, we'll talk later. So then, of course, he calls me, and this is, I think, like June already. So we're talking, and then he's like, hey, let's go on a date. I said, okay, cool, let's go on a date. Where are we going? He goes, let's go watch this movie. Let's go watch Ted 2. I said, okay. So we go, and you can tell my husband doesn't have game, you guys. Like, there's no game there. And so we get out of the car, and of course I'm driving because he doesn't have a car, and it's cool, I don't care. I'd rather myself drive than have somebody else drive me in case anything happens, like I'm in control of the vehicle. So we're doing that, like we go, so we get out, and he's walking like 20 steps ahead of me, and he's just a fast walker. Like, he's tall and he's got these long ass legs. I'm 5'2", he's 5'11", long legs, got short legs. I'm like, are you coming alone, bro? Like, are you on this date by yourself? No, we went to go have dinner first and then a movie. I don't remember. But at some point, he pretty much tells me he's never had a girlfriend before. He's pretty much a virgin. And so when he tells me that, I'm not surprised. You know, it explains a lot of what was going on that night. So we get through it. We at some point have dinner before or after the movie. I can't remember, but we have dinner and we have Tex-Mex. So the girl asks, well, how do you want the check? You want it together or separate? And I stare at him for like a split second, and I know he's like not knowing what to say. I said, we'll do separate. I'll pay for myself, no problem. So I drop him off. I don't remember if we kissed. I don't remember what happened afterwards. I don't think I stayed the night with him that night. So I don't know. So that's date one. So eventually we get together and he makes it. He meets my whole family at my niece's first birthday party, I think it was. But I think had met my mom and my sister a little beforehand. And I remember my dad at this party that we had. It's the first birthday party, so all we did was like a dinner. And I remember my dad saying, don't fuck this one up. Because he knows how I am. Like my dad, he knows how I was with guys in the past. I can be aggressive, I guess, in a different term. I can be a little aggressive. So that was that night. When he met my family, the rest of my family. Then I hadn't met his family yet. So this is August. So between August and December, I broken up with him twice. And I'm like, oh, I just can't do it. Part of the reason why I was like, I can't do it, was because he was working overnights at that time. And I'm just like, I want attention. I need the attention. That's what I like. And he obviously couldn't give it to me because he was sleeping when I was awake and I was sleeping when he was awake. So, but during that time, he would like on his weekends off or his days off, he would come over, spend the night with me, we did our thing and it was good. Like the kids liked him, like my niece and nephew loved him. It was a pretty good relationship. But I did break up with him one time. That was the first time in October on Julian's birthday. I'm like, hey, like this is I don't see this working out, bud. And he's like, okay, cool, I understand, And then we got back together. And then at some point I broke up with him again. I guess it's 2 weeks later. And then I was like, I'm not going to talk to him. I'm not going to do anything with him. Like, it's better this way. No. Here I go. I'm like, hey, what you doing? How you been? I miss you. Toxic as fuck, you guys. I'm so fucking toxic. And, he's all like, hey. I'm like, can we talk? He said, sure. Again, I don't think I met his family at this point. So, in comes Christmas. I haven't met the family, but I know they know about me. How can they not know about me? You know what I'm saying? It's like their firstborn son, like the oldest brother. This girl's being toxic as fuck. And I'm nervous. Nervous as all get out. And he knows I'm nervous. So I'm prepping for this for weeks, and I said, oh, he's got one little nephew. I said, I gotta make a good impression. So what I do. Okay, so while I was editing the video, I didn't record the part about Christmas. So let me go ahead and tell you guys what happened. So I get there Christmas Day. After he told me, oh, we're done unwrapping gifts, come over at this time. I said, okay, cool. I'm nervous. Obviously, like, I don't know what he's told his family about me. I don't know what his family feels about me. So I get there, and I had bought a toy for his nephew, and I bought his mom the biggest Ferrero Rocher plastic case that I could find. So they're like, oh, thank you. I was trying to play nice. I was trying to, like, just keep to myself because I don't know these people. I don't know these people at all. And so then they're like, hey, can you take the family picture? I said, cool, yeah, I'll take the family picture. So their living room, and then it's like the living room, and then there's a step up. It's a wet bar area and like the den where they put the computer. So I'm um, I'm up there and I'm trying to get my now father-in-law's attention, and I don't know what to call him. I'm thinking to myself, should I call him by his last name, like, hey, Mr. Whatever? Call him by his first name? What came out of my mouth? Hey, Dad, I need you to move over on this side. And he gave me the funniest look. He's like, you're calling me dad already? Like, that's the look he gave me. But that happened. I finally got him to get a good picture. I don't know if they liked it. I'm not a photographer. I did the best I could, given as I was nervous. But that's what happened at Christmas. So there's that, right? So there's that family photo. Like I said, I don't know if I'm in the family photo that year. I don't blame him if I'm not. But I do know like the other people, like all the other in like people that got married into the family are also in family photos. But they got put at the edge because like you get put at the edge because if you don't work out, you just get cut off. there's there's one photo, when the little brother, he was with this girl, and one year we got professional photos done, and well, they're no longer together, but she was in the middle of a photo. So my husband my husband cropped out a picture of his current like fiance wife, in common law wife right now, and I don't know what they call themselves, so I'm sorry you watch this and you're like, don't get offended, okay? Don't get offended. I don't know what you guys call each other. But he photoshopped a picture of her and like pasted it over the ex-girlfriend's photo and put it on his Facebook wall, like the coverage one that everybody can see. I died laughing. Everybody thought it was hilarious. So that puts us through Christmas. New Year's comes around, whatever. January comes around, we're doing pretty well. February comes around, it's Valentine's Day. Um, I think this was my first Valentine's Day that I was in a relationship. Listen, I'm like a chronic relationship sabotager. So the other 3 relationships before him, I pretty much sabotaged them. So it's Valentine's, and then I remember telling my coworkers, my patients that were listening, I had worked there for 5 years, and you grow to know your patients. It was really nice. I loved working where I worked, and I loved my patients. Did I like corporate? Fuck no, we don't like corporate, whatever. So I remember telling them, if he proposes to me on Valentine's Day, which happened to be on a weekend that year, I'm like, if he proposes to me, I swear I'm breaking up with him, because that's the cheesiest thing that he could ever do. Comes Valentine's Day, and I'm sitting here, I already knew he had something planned, because he wanted to go to the movies with his sister and his brother-in-law, but he wanted to wear a suit. I'm like, who the fuck wears a suit to the movie theater? Like, who does that? So I knew he was planning something, so I was trying to avoid it. And so I didn't answer his calls, I didn't answer his texts. Yeah. So he's been texting me all day or whatever, and I'm like, I eventually text him back around 5 p.m. I think it was. I don't know how late it was, but I eventually text him back, and I'm like, hey, sorry, I've just not been feeling well. I've been sleeping all day. What's going on? I'm like, are you okay? He's like, no, I'm kind of bummed. I wanted to see you today. I had something planned, and you didn't show up. So I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I mean, I can come over now if you want me to. He goes, yeah, I'm at my parents' house. So I said, okay, well, let me go to your parents' house. Let me get dressed, whatever. So I get there, and we're on the back, like on their back porch, and his dad is mowing the lawn. His mom's sitting there, his mom's super friendly, and super friendly, and always really in a good mood. She's a good person. And so they go in, they're like, oh, I'm gonna go get something, I'm gonna get you something to drink. I said, okay. And I'm sitting there on my phone just scrolling, and then next thing I know, he comes in, there's a bag in front of me, like a little blue bag, and I'm like, what is it? And he's like, hey, I really love you. Mind you guys, we've only known each other for about less than a year. It's been less than a year. Since May of 15, this is February of 2016. And He goes, I really love you, you know. Do you want to marry me? And I am like, you're asking me in front of your parents. How am I going to say no? So I'm like, sure. Okay, let's get married. So we're working on a date, you know. We can't really decide. I keep pushing it back, obviously, because I'm one of those people who are really scared of commitment. And getting married to someone is a really big step. It's really hard to get out of a marriage. So I'm pushing back the date, and we go look at wedding venues. I take his sisters with me. I'm looking for a wedding dress. You know, I have my girls trying out their bridesmaid dresses. You know, the whole kid and caboodle. So we had said that we were gonna get married in April of 2017. We moved in together late December of 2016. This fucker decides he no longer wants to live in sin. My husband's a God-fearing Christian man, okay? I'm not. And he no longer wants to live in sin. And I said, but what do you mean? Like we were doing stuff before we lived together. He's like, yeah, but I can't deny it now. It's hard for me to deny that we're doing things we're not supposed to be doing if we're living together. And I said, so what? So you guys, we go, we it's this is like before work. I'm not like I we go and get our marriage license in Rockwall County. Okay, this is like the very one of the last days of the year of 2016. And we're like, okay, so we have to wait. They make you wait like 3 days. 3 days come and go, but it's New Year's. January 5th is the first day that the courts are open. And he wants to get married before he goes to work that day. And I'm like, oh Lord. And this whole time I'm like, do I really want to do this? What's going on here? And I'm too nice to be like, I was too nice to tell him like, hey, you know, this is a little too soon. How about we wait? I'm not sure if this is something I'm looking for. And so we go and we find out that Collin County, like Rockwall County, doesn't have a justice of the peace that can marry us. So we go to Dallas County, and I don't know what happened with Dallas County that we just were like, let's go to Plano, to Collin County. So we go to Collin County, get married. And I'm like, and so the judge is like, do you guys have rings? Like, you know, what's going on? I said, I only have my engagement ring, and he doesn't have a ring at this time. And granted, you guys, we're poor. Like, we're still poor, but we were poor then. And so we get married. And you know, and I'm wearing fucking jeans and a sweater, and my hair is in a bun. Like, it's horrible. And I'm crying, but I'm not crying tears of joy. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing to myself? So I'm like, how are you gonna break this to your family? He goes, well, we had to tell my mom first. And I said, okay. So his big plan is, because he still has a few hours before he has to go to work, is let's go tell my mom before we tell the rest of the family, because I feel like, you know, my mom's gonna take it a little bit harder that she wasn't there. I said, you're probably fucking right. So we get her some flowers, we go to her job, and we're like, hey, by the way, we're husband and wife now. And, you know, like I said, my mother-in-law is a super happy, cheerful person, and she, in front of us, she took it really well. I feel like, you know, she's like, oh, you should have waited for us, you know, or something like that. And I'm like, he didn't want to. I was waiting till April. And so, you know, we do that. And then after we go to see his mom, that's when he breaks it to his family via text. Okay? So his oldest sister is like, she wasn't happy at the news. I remember that. I don't remember quite what she said, but I know she wasn't happy with the news. And then I'm like, well, geez, your congratulations could have been fine. um, so here we are, 7 years later. Lots of up and downs, lots of me pushing and pulling, lots of him putting up with my bullshit. I'm happy most days, but I love that man. Like, he's my ride or die. Bye, guys.